Hi. In this talk, we present deep neural models for generalized synthesis of multi-avatar actions. Given an action label, our proposed framework, MUGL, generates novel and diverse human action sequences belonging to the action class. For data, we use NTU-RGBD120, a large-scale action recognition dataset with 25 joint 3D pose sequences. One problem is that the Kinect 3D joint data in NTU-120 dataset is temporally incoherent and noisy for many sequences. To fix this issue, we propose to use pose from RGB video and 3D global trajectory from Kinect data. The global component contains global trajectory sequence of the pose tree's root node. Instead of independent per-avatar global root node trajectories, we model relative displacements of other avatars with respect to the first avatar. This choice enables locomotion and relative multi-avatar trajectory dynamics to be represented better. The local component comprises of per-person pose tree sequences whose tree root nodes are all considered to be at the global origin. Directly using 3D position joint representations can generate unnatural-looking motion. To avoid such issues, we use a fixed reference pose and forward kinematics to model the pose tree's relative joint displacements as a rotation matrix. To enable variable length sequence generation, we represent sequence length as an indexed non-decreasing sequence. The encoder consists of modules which learn representations of local, global components of action sequence and the sequence length. These representations are concatenated. During training, the concatenated representation is conditionally modulated with action class label. We also condition on a transformed version of viewpoint to enrich the encoded representation. The result is mapped to the parametric representations of the variational approximation distribution. A popular choice for latent prior distribution is the unimodal standard Gaussian. However, the unimodality can become a capacity bottleneck, especially when data is expected to contain a large number of clusters due to category-related or action dynamics-related similarity among samples. Therefore, we adopt an extension of VAE known as Gaussian mixture VAE, wherein the latent prior is a mixture of Gaussian distribution. As the first step in the generation process, a vector sample from the latent Gaussian mixture is transformed using the standard VAE reparameterization trick. Conditioning on action and viewpoint produces the effective latent representation of the action sequence. The latent representation is mapped via a series of decoders to a 6D representation of the action sequence. A global trajectory decoder is used to map the latent representation to the estimate of global action component. A set of modules complementary to those found in Encoder are used to map the latent representation to the estimates of local and global action components. These components are combined to obtain the generated 3D pose sequence. The sequence length decoder's output is thresholded to trim the 3D pose sequence to its effective length. Here are some examples of single and multi-person variable duration action sequences generated by MUGL. Overall, unlike our work, existing methods do not cover a large number of action classes, do not produce variable length sequences, and do not generate multi-person activity sequences with relative global displacements. Qualitatively, we observe that generations by MUGL, in red, are superior in quality compared to baselines. The MUGL sequence exhibits dynamics resembling those of the randomly chosen training data sequence, in blue. As this table shows, MUGL clearly outperforms existing approaches in terms of the standard MMD measures. MUGL sometimes fails in generating complex activities involving hand and leg interactions. In conclusion, we have presented MUGL, our generative framework for large-scale and controllable multi-person, variable duration human action synthesis. Thanks for your time.